Hello, I am Lynn Lockard with the Office of Special Education and Early Learning. Thank you for taking time to view this presentation for the initial eligibility determination process in specific learning disability. The first part of this presentation will review the initial evaluation and eligibility determination process for a specific learning disability, which is the same for all disability categories. The second part of the presentation will provide clarification on the additional eligibility determination procedures for SLD. The next 4 slides will review the initial evaluation and eligibility process. This process is followed first for any disability category, including a specific learning disability. Before a student is referred to be evaluated for special education services, interventions can be done prior to or as a part of the referral process. This is referred to as the response to intervention, RTI, or the multi-tiered system of support, MTSS. If the student has not made adequate progress based on the data collected, a referral must be considered. However, a district must not delay or deny evaluations because of the implementation of an RTI MTSS strategy and is not required prior to making a referral. A referral may come from any source or individual that believes a student's educational performance is significantly and consistently below their same age peers. When a referral is made, the Admissions and Release Committee, ARC, must meet to determine if there is a need for a special education evaluation. The student should continue to receive RTI, MTSS interventions during the referral process. It is the responsibility of the ARC to conduct a full and individual evaluation using a variety of assessment tools and strategies to determine if the child has a disability by identifying their educational strengths and needs. Please note, a single procedure must not be used for determining if a child has a disability and when creating an appropriate educational program. The ARC must receive parental consent before conducting the evaluation, and the evaluation must be completed within 60 school days of the date the parent gives consent. When determining eligibility, the ARC will need to carefully analyze multiple data sources from the evaluation process, such as the intervention data, assessment data, parental input, teacher recommendations, and behavior observations, to name a few. If it is determined that a child has a disability, an individual education program, IEP, must be developed by the ARC. We have just reviewed the evaluation and eligibility process that is the same for any disability, including a specific learning disability. Please note that the Kentucky Determination of Eligibility Regulation does outline additional procedures for evaluating children with specific learning disabilities. The Office of Special Education and Early Learning, OSIL, has created a new resource to help guide the ARC through the evaluation and eligibility process specific to SLD. As with any disability, the ARC must prove an adverse impact on the student's educational performance. To help clarify the evaluation and eligibility determination process for SLD, a questions and answers related to specific learning disability document has been developed to be a companion resource to the SLD guidance document. A specific learning disability is defined in the Kentucky regulation as a disorder that adversely affects the ability to acquire, comprehend, or apply reading, math, writing, reasoning, listening, or speaking skills to the extent that specially designed instruction is required, and this may include dyslexia along with other perceptual and motor disabilities. As part of our clarification in the Q&A resource, the OSIL addresses some misconceptions about dyslexia and SLD. As you may have noticed in the definition for SLD, dyslexia is included. Often parents are aware of the term dyslexia and will approach the school district to refer their child for dyslexia. This should be considered a referral for a specific learning disability, or SLD. When evaluating for dyslexia, a medical statement may be considered, however, it is not required. The eligibility determination for special education and related services is made by the ARC after considering all sources of data. As previously stated, regardless of the disability category, the ARC is responsible to determine if an adverse effect on the student's educational performance exists. Each school district must have policies and procedures as outlined in the Kentucky Regulation for additional procedures for evaluating children with SLD. As a part of the planning and consent to evaluate process, the ARC will select the method to be used for the evaluation based on district policy and procedures, as well as the specific referral questions or concerns for that student. For district policies relating to SLD eligibility, they may choose among three options: the use of the RTI method solely, or only use the discrepancy method, which is using the SLD reference tables, or adopt a policy allowing the district to use either method at the discretion of the ARC. If the last option is chosen, the ARC specifies which model is being used at the beginning of the evaluation planning process and does not attempt to use both models during the eligibility process. The ARC may determine a child has a SLD when the student fails to achieve a rate of learning to make sufficient progress to meet grade level standards when assessed using the response to intervention method. Or when using the severe discrepancy method, the ARC may determine a child has a SLD because the student exhibits a pattern of strengths and weaknesses between academic ability and intellectual ability. To help with clarifying these additional procedures for evaluating children for SLD, we will review some of the questions and answers provided in the new guidance document for using SLD reference tables. Must the specific assessment measures identified and paired in the SLD reference tables be used to determine eligibility for ASLD? No. This would be considered using the tables because the reference tables were reviewed to determine if there was a pairing that measured the specific challenges of the students. Does the discrepancy method require using the SLD reference tables when determining eligibility upon reevaluation? As a reminder, for reevaluation purposes, use of the discrepancy tables are not required for continuing eligibility. The ARC must ensure the evaluation is comprehensive to help identify the child's needs. For more information, see the SLD guidance document. What if a student does not show a severe discrepancy according to the SLD reference tables? Please note that the assessment pairings within the SLD reference tables to determine if there is a possible severe discrepancy result is considered one procedure. According to regulation, a single procedure shall not be used as the sole criterion for determining whether a child is a child with a disability. If the student has shown a pattern of strengths and weaknesses between academic ability and intellectual ability, the ARC must triangulate the data to increase the credibility or validity of the results. When documenting for Method A, severe discrepancy, on the SLD eligibility determination form, there is the note that reads, the ARC must use the SLD reference tables when choosing this method. As stated on the previous slide, the procedure of using the SLD reference table is one source of information for the ARC to consider in the comprehensive evaluation. The note on the form is intended to ensure the SLD reference tables were considered as part of the triangulation of data that supports eligibility determination. Triangulation of data means there are multiple data sources that substantiate any existence of any disability, including SLD. Data triangulation includes triangulation of time, space, and persons. In other words, different methods of evaluation took place in varied settings, by multiple evaluators, and at different times. As a reminder, the regulation outlines possible data sources for the ARC to consider. Regardless of the data used, it should be documented and carefully considered. The method selected during the ARC evaluation, planning, and consent meeting will be documented on the SLD eligibility determination form. It is important to note that at no time can a district switch methods while conducting the evaluation or determining eligibility for a student. As previously reviewed, the ARC must select which of the two methods it will implement for the student being evaluated before beginning the evaluation process. This option pertains only to those districts that have adopted both methods and as part of the district policies and procedures. Please refer to your district's special education policies and procedures for further information. One final thought on the importance of triangulating the data using multiple sources. The ARC will be able to prove all sources led to the same result, and they can be confident in their determination. Thank you again for your time and attention to this very important topic. You will find the new Q&A resource along with the current published SLD guidance document on the Kentucky Department of Education website under the tab Exceptional Children and Early Learning. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me.